is with us. Everyone's not only listening, everyone is watching.
Let's get into around the world news for this Thursday. Police have a right to act. Kenya's Ruto defense crackdown on protesters after deaths at anti-government rallies. President of Kenya, William Ruto, addressed the nation in Nairobi on Wednesday, defending the police right to do everything possible to protect country's residents. Police have a constitutional right to use whatever means are possible to make sure the lives of Kenyans are protected. He said there is a reason why there is a roadblock, why police have tear gas, why water cannons are there. They are supposed to be used to protect the lives and property of other Kenyans when they are in danger. Early on Monday, violent clashes broke out between police and protesters, marking the Sabasaba anniversary, as the large crowds rallies nationwide in defense against police brutality and living standards while demanding President Ruto's resignation. In response, authorities closed roads and deployed tear gas to disperse crowds. According to reports, 11 people have been killed and hundreds injured, including 52 police officers. Authorities have confirmed that over 500 people have been arrested.
There is a reason why water cannons are there. They are supposed to be used to protect. Police have a right, constitutional right, to use whatever means possible to make sure the lives of Kenyans are protected, their property is protected, and they need to take steps to make sure that if life and property is in danger, the police must act accordingly. Honestly, how can anybody say that the police cannot protect the lives and properties of other Kenyans? There is a reason why there is a roadblock. There is a reason why police have tear gas. There is a reason why water cannons are there. They are supposed to be used to protect the lives and property of other Kenyans when they are in danger. So a person who already has security in his house, guarded by the police, in his car, driven by the police, is telling us the property of other Kenyans is not worth being protected by the police. Police have a right, constitutional right, to use whatever means possible to make sure.
In other stories for this edition of Around the World News Update, last kicks of a dying horse, Nigerian economists on Trump's new 10% tariffs over BRICS partnership. Nigerian economic and financial experts criticize U.S. President Donald Trump's new 10% tariffs over the nation's BRICS partnership during interviews in Lagos on Tuesday. A strong hold of the U.S. on global commerce is warning. University of Lagos Economics Department head Oludiran Akinleye said it is still a very powerful nation, but these are the last kicks of a dying horse, he continued. He also stated that any country that wants to deal with the noise of Trump is fooling itself. Trump will impose a tariff today, remove the tariff tomorrow, and then all of that, he continued. Furthermore, financial expert Oladele emphasized that seeking trade opportunities outside the U.S. is a good move for Nigeria. Everyone should take up that cause to defend their own economic territory and economic security, she said. We are becoming more economically secure as a nation, such that, in my opinion, an additional 10% increase in tariff is not enough deterrent for us to not continue the conversation we're having with BRICS, she concluded. This comes after Trump announced on Sunday through his Truth social platform an additional 10% tariffs on any country aligning itself with the anti-American policies of BRICS. In January 2025, Nigeria became the 9th BRICS partner nation, joining Belarus, Bolivia, Kazakhstan, Cuba, Malaysia, Thailand, Uganda, and Uzbekistan. Although not yet a full member of the bloc, the African nation is considered a key emerging power due to its population, the largest in Africa and 9th globally, as well as its growing economic and energy influence in the region.
When it has to do with diversification of the economy, Nigeria gets to participate with other BRICS countries, okay, in terms of the currencies. Instead of having that over-reliance or over-dependence on dollar, it becomes a non-dollar rise agreement whereby you have different countries trading together within that BRICS economies without having to rely heavily on dollar. We export cocoa, we export crude oil. This become much more expensive. Also, this could also lead to reduction in FDI, foreign direct investment, and can also affect the foreign portfolio investment in Nigeria. The extra 10% tariff could also bring about what we call trade pressure on Nigeria.
The fact that Nigeria is thinking beyond just trading with America and is looking for other trade opportunities, I think it's a good one. Also because the President of the United States has said that everything he's doing is for his nation alone. So everyone should take up that course to defend their own economic territory and economic security. Generally, when tariffs are increased, it just means that the cost to the end buyer, as the end user, the American, increases. Now, what it's supposed to do is that it's supposed to make Nigeria less attractive or less competitive in what we export to them. So it will slow down trade on our part. But we find that oil is one of those commodities that is needed. So if you increase the tariffs, then what will happen is that you are going to pass on that cost to the consumer. Now, as a country, because we don't import as much from America, or the value of our imports isn't as much in dollar terms, the impact may not be as felt as it would be on our part. Also because Nigeria is also exporting to other countries. Nigeria is now producing their own fuel locally. We are now refining. So we are becoming more economically secure as a nation, such that, in my opinion, an additional 10% increase is not enough deterrent for us to not continue the conversations that we are having with BRICS.
And any country that then wants to deal with the noise of Trump is fooling itself. Trump will impose a tariff today, remove the tariff tomorrow, and all of that. So President Tinubu is going with the flow, which is what is good for Nigeria. How many countries does America alone want to face off on? I see that in the aftermath of the Russia-Ukraine, well, it's still ongoing, of the sanctions of the Russia-Ukraine war, a number of countries are moving away from the SWIFT system, which is the dollar-denominated American-controlled system of, currency exchange, to an alternate system. So the stranglehold of the U.S. on global commerce is waning. For me, it's still a very, very powerful nation, but these are the last kicks of a dying horse.
And invest otherwise, other countries might come instead of you. President of Gabon urges win-win partnership with U.S. Trump as African leaders back nominating U.S. press for Nobel Peace Prize.
Mr. President, in the future, to travel to Africa, to see firsthand all those countries in Africa, all those potential that those countries have. And for the African leaders, my question is, as you can see, President Trump is working to bring peace, not only in Africa, but also in the world. Are you all considering to nominate President Trump for a Nobel Prize Peace?
That's a very nice reporter. I got to meet her 2 weeks ago when we had the Congo and Rwanda, and we had some other people up from Africa, and that was the first time. But that's very nice. I appreciate the questions. Very nice, actually. Would you like to? At some point, I would like to go to Africa. Absolutely. We're going to see what the schedule is, but at some point, I would like to do that very much. Would you like to give a fast answer, please?
Microphone, please.
On soutient cette dynamique.
We are in favor of this dynamic for peace. We are very committed on peace. I am the first head of state who went to Russia and who went to Ukraine, both, since the start of the war. I held the presidency of ECOWAS, and I went to see Mr. Putin. We spoke for 4 hours, and then I went to Ukraine. I spent 12 hours on a train to speak to President Zelensky. But now the weight of President Trump is something else altogether. We are with you. We are behind you to see what we can do to help bring peace back. No one wins when there's war. So you have our support so that we can bring peace back. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President Trump. Thank you for your questions. A Nobel Peace Prize, while I don't see any problem with it, I think that President Trump deserves it for all the efforts that he's worked on. And he brought peace back in the SIAC region. That is my region, the region where DRC and Rwanda signed a deal. And so he is now bringing peace back into a region where that was never possible. So I believe that he does deserve a Nobel Peace Prize. That is my opinion on this.
Well, thank you very much. Very nice. Thank you. I didn't know I'd be treated this nicely. This is great. We could do this all day long. Thank you very much. Please, go ahead.
Mr. President, I believe that we have to continue to support America in the strength to be able to bring about peace in the world. America is a melting point and also a country that we all look forward to, and I want to encourage you, because without peace, we can't have a world to live in. And we stand with you on that.
That's right. Thank you. Well said. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you for your question. Very important question indeed. Forgive me for saying this, but unfortunately, I don't really understand. I don't know how things work when it comes to Nobel Prizes, but I can guarantee you that Mauritania would never be opposed to President Trump receiving a Nobel Peace Prize, because he's already working very hard in favor of peace throughout the world, with no distinction, no regard to what continent it's on, and he's working on areas where there are tensions everywhere, and he's committed towards peace, and our world needs more peace. Thank you.
Very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The jury will decide. It's not a matter of voting amongst our countries, but what is for sure is that the results and the work has been done in such a short amount of time show that you would be a good recipient. And I'm sure that the jury sees that and the rest of the world sees it as well and understands it. When the time comes, I think everyone will see that it is a deserved prize. Congratulations on what you've done so far. If we took a poll.
Is 220 peacekeepers to Central African Republic of UN mission. Around 220 members of the Peruvian military contingent departed for the United Nations peacekeeping mission in the Central African Republic on Tuesday following a formal farewell ceremony. Footage shows the farewell ceremony for the military group led by the President of Peru, Dina Boluarte, alongside the Minister of Defense, Walter Astudillo Chavez, at the facilities of Air Group Number 8 in Callao. The Blue Helmets contingent, comprising personnel from Peru's Army, Navy, and the Air Force, will focus on critical infrastructure projects, including repairing airstrips, roads, and bridges, conducting explosive ordnance disposal and mine clearance, and performing specialized engineering tasks. 31 women are among the deployed troops exceeding international standards for female representation in the peacekeeping. This deployment continues Peru's 66-year history with UN peacekeeping dating back to 1958 when Peruvian forces first served in Lebanon. The commission marks Peru's 10th major peacekeeping contingent. International law is dead. Thousands in a symbolic raid denounced Gaza assault at Paris pro-Palestine rally. Thousands of pro-Palestinian protesters dressed in red flooded the streets of Paris on Tuesday, staging a massive rally to symbolize the red lines they say Israel has crossed in its military operation in Gaza. Footage shows that the protest, which extended from Place de la République to the Belleville metro station, was marked by chants, Palestinian flags, and poster bearings slogans such as Gaza. The red lines have been crossed and civilians are not targets. The event was organized by Amnesty International France, which called for a silent symbolic mobilization free of political banners or party flags, and urged the participants to wear red in solidarity with Gaza's victims. Netanyahu's genocidal response to the Hamas terrorist attack is nothing more than a pretext for the 48-year eviction of Palestinians from their own land, said Jacuzzi protester, adding here, the Zionist state is doing what the entire Jewish population underwent with Hitler's genocide. It's unspeakable. Another demonstrator, Jose, noted it's not just since October 7. The red lines were crossed in 1948. The number of October 7 that the Palestinian people have experienced is unbelievable. We're angry with our government, who are complicit in a genocide that has exceeded all limits and all red lines. Another protester referenced Chapter 7 of the UN Charter, stressing that any attack on the country without provocation or self-defense constitutes a red line that should be condemned by the Security Council. The UN has the duty and power to restore peace. They acted in Iraq, Libya, and against Daesh, but here nothing. The silence is deafening. Protester Lydia expressed anger at international complicity. We know Macron is selling arms, she said. This morning there was a weapons shipment leaving Orly. I know there is a strike by the carriers who refuse to take them on board. Netanyahu is being received in the United States like a prince, even though he has an international arrest warrant, which is not even being respected. International law is dead too. A demonstration in Paris echoed larger protests across Europe. At least 75,000 marched in Brussels and 100,000 in The Hague in parallel actions aimed at pressuring Western governments to end arms sales to Israel and support an immediate ceasefire. The Hamas-Israel war began after Palestinian group launched an attack on southern Israel on October 7, killing 1,139 people, mostly civilians, and kidnapping over 200 who were taken into Gaza Strip. In retaliation, the Israeli military launched a widespread campaign of airstrikes and ground incursions, killing 57,523 Palestinians and injuring 136,617 as of the time of publication. On 18 March, Israel resumed its military offensive in the Gaza Strip following a brief ceasefire with Hamas that included the exchange of prisoners and hostages. Since then, the Israel Defense Forces have continued a large-scale campaign of airstrikes and ground incursions under military operation it has named Gideon's Chariots. We end Around the World News Update. Good morning.
Zambia.